TRX starting in 12th. Matt Benazik will start 13th today in the 08 Civic, with Tom Roaring closing up the field in the number 90 H Production Volkswagen Rabbit. As the pace car now, Brian, on the pit lane, turning the field over to Kevin Rupp. As the starter looks over the field, green flag is in the air, and we are racing at Summit Point as the two Integras jump out early. And we saw this yesterday, Brian, with David Strittmatter getting a great start, great straight line speed in that yellow Integra. He steps ahead of Kevin Rupp as they go down into turn one. Our pole sitter is going to slot into second, and much like yesterday, it is a battle of the H-Prod cars as they get bottled up behind the T4 of Chip Herr. As our B-Spec racers now come to the start-finish line, they get a green flag, and they are racing as well as they make the run down to turn one. No real advantage there as they head down the front straight with both Roman and Ahern. Roman to the inside in the orange Mini Coupe, with Ahern in the green Mazda 2 to his outside as they head down under braking into turn number one.
Yeah, I tell you what, they're still side by side. I think they haven't been told that the green flag has come out. I think they're all four still on the pace lap there in that B-Spec. Again, this is a class that's all about momentum. Now it looks like Ahern's going to get the lead right there over Roman, put J.D. Swan in third, and then put
Steve Introne.
Wow, I totally lost Steve's name. Steve Introne in fourth there as they go single file up the hill and down out of turn three.
All right, let's jump back to our production car racers, Brian, and they're going to be coming underneath the Toyota bridge, and they do. And Kevin Rupp, he's got the tires underneath him now, and he's got the power. He is your new leader, and much like we saw yesterday, Brian, the H production cars getting bottled up at the bottom portion of the course behind the Strittmatter Integra. But we now see both Rick Benazik and Mike Kelley. They've gotten around Chip Herr's Touring 4 Toyota, and they're side by side as they go down into turn one, with Mike Kelley, yesterday's race winner, getting the jump on Benazik. Benazik not able to outmotor the much more powerful Toyota down the front straight. And so yesterday, Brian, we saw where Benazik was able to jump to an early lead as both Mike Kelley and also Braden Connolly got stuck. I think stuck might be a good word, behind the yellow Integra of Strittmatter. Today, Kelley gets around, at least temporarily, but we see here with Strittmatter now opens up the gap, and we'll probably see this again where everything's going to bottle up behind the yellow car down in this portion of the course, where the smaller, lighter, even less powerful cars seem to have an advantage over that other yellow Integra.
Yeah, Strittmatter seems a little bit faster today. Just to clarify, Kevin Rupp did come out yesterday, but he was late coming out.
That is true.
He did get half there. He was a lap down at the end.
That is correct.
At the end of that race, of that 15 laps, but ended up working his way back up into it. So Kevin Rupp out here doing it. Last time, we were sitting here, we were kind of laughing a little bit. We were watching Chip Herr basically push Mike Kelley all the way down past Eric Benazik down the front stretch there, which enabled Mike Kelley to get out in front, and now he's opened up by about 3 or 4 car lengths over Rick Benazik as they head down into turn one now. That's the leader in production. Then you've got Chip Herr a little bit further back in that T4 machine. Again, leading T4, not a battling class, but now he's fallen back behind Eric Benazik as well, back in there. So good to see Chip out here running in this T4. And again, brand new car for him. Out there running. Good to see that he's awake this morning.
Indeed. All right, and things, and as I'm watching Chip Herr, as that probably woke him up. We saw this yesterday, is the rear end of that Toyota very, very loose, very skittish coming through the exit of turn 3. We are getting word from race control that, actually from a couple of our corners, they've been watching this yellow Nissan Sentra that's coming down into turn 5 right now, leading that pack. That's Paul Sultanis, who is running in F production. That's a former GT Light car. He ended yesterday's race in the gravel trap in turn 3, Brian, and apparently some of the body work is a little bit loose on that car. It might be moving around a little bit. Right now, race control thinks it's going to be, it's okay for the time being. We'll definitely keep an eye on that yellow and red Nissan Sentra.
Looks like a little hood. It looks like the hood pin on the right-hand side. We'll take a look at it as they come by our window here, but it looks like it's maybe one of the hood pins is probably popped out. Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. The right hood pin is up. He's got a little bit of
yeah, we can kind of see it fluttering there on that our start-finish camera.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be enough to pop the whole thing up.
Right.
It looks like down a little bit in the right front as well. Maybe some of the body work on his little splitter down there. You can see it as he goes down in one.
It's a little
may have run over one of the curbs and dented it up a little bit, so it kept me pushing it. So that looks like that could have caused that hood pin to come loose. When I left yesterday, he was working on that up underneath there. Again, as you mentioned, he was stuck in the gravel trap yesterday, kind of to end this race.
Yes. And so that hood fluttering around might affect straight line speed just a little bit, as we've got both the Matt Benazik Honda Civic, that's an H-Prod car, as well as David Colby, who is actually a competitor of Saltanis, and that CRX actually got escalated to a podium finish yesterday, and actually finished, I believe he ended up finishing second in F production, as Saltanis, who was running second at the time, ended up in that gravel trap.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I tell you what, Spencer's got to cover. Let's go ahead and cover this B-Spec a little bit, because JB Swan has now taken the lead in B-Spec. We talked about Robert Ahern. I don't know if Robert came in or has gone off somewhere, because he only completed one lap. So I'm not sure. I don't see him in any of the cameras. He may have come in down there. I don't see him down there in the paddock, so I'm not sure where it is. But JB Swan has now taken the lead in our B-Spec as they come out of turn 6. Rich Roman is second. Steve Introne is sitting in third. We'll try to get word what happened to the 99.
And of course, an interesting story that 2 years ago, or I guess now running on 3 years ago, when Steve Introne took the 2022 National Championship at VIR. By the way, we are getting word now that coming down through the chute, the 97 machine, and that is Chip Herr having some issues. And we see there as he pulls off over by turn 5. Now, he had some issues during the test day. And again, new car to him. Apparently, did not turn on the oil cooler for the rear for the differential and the axle boot. Basically what happened is the inner CV boot started to overheat and basically blew the CV boot back there, that was spouting axle grease everywhere. Don't know if that's the issue today as well.
Yeah, I mean, he thought maybe it would lost the left axle, on Friday. Ended up ordering one. Only had 4 in the country. They were able to get one here to Winchester. Went and picked that up yesterday, so hopefully that is not what had happened today. Hopefully it's something else. But yeah, that car is pulled off right there at turn 7.
So going back, Brian, I was talking about back in 2022, that Rich Roman and Steve Introne, who won the national championship at that event, and we're watching right now as Rich Roman has gotten back around JB Swan, that Introne and Roman right here at Summit Point and actually raced against one another for the very first time, and they felt that they worked so well together that they teamed up for the entire rest of the season, and right up until the national championship runoffs at VIR in 2022. And Roman and Introne essentially worked the plan all the way through race week at the runoffs, and they worked together, and Roman was able to push Steve Introne to a national champion. Or I don't want to say push him to a national championship, but they worked together, and Introne was able to take the national championship the following year at VIR. The plan was that they would work together, and unfortunately things didn't work out for Introne. And I think the opening lap he had some contact with another car, and Roman
had to do it by himself.
Went on to win the national championship. And so they're here racing again this week, as we see Kevin Ruck, our overall leader right now. Ruck, a multi-time national champion in his own right. I think 2-time national champion in F production, coming right up onto the back of Rich Roman's B-Spec car.
Tell you what, let's go back and pick up this H production battle. This H production battle is now nose to tail between Eric Benazik and Mike Kelley. Again, Mike Kelley making that pass, that last turn pass yesterday afternoon in our 8th production battle now. Mike Kelley leading Eric Benazik by less than a car length.
All right, so, and yesterday, the way the race played out in H-Prod, it was high drama, Brian.
Yeah.
As, we talked about early on where the entire B-Spec field kind of got bottled up between the Strip Motor Integra, this yellow Integra that we see right here, and Rick Benazik managed to get underneath Strip Motor on the first lap down in the carousel and opened up almost a 20-car length lead on Mike Kelley to, at one point, was actually chasing Chip Her down for the overall lead.
Yeah.
But towards the end of the race, it looked like the Civic had really fallen off. And both Mike Kelley as well as Braden Connolly, who's the third car in the shot, in that blue X19, were able to pull up much closer to Benazik. And on the very last lap, we went into the final lap of yesterday's race with Mike Kelley, I'd say probably around 5 car lengths back from Benazik.
Yeah.
Closed things down over the course of the lap, and on the very last turn, Benazik and Benazik's car looked, as it got lighter on fuel, the rear end was getting more and more unhappy, Brian, that when they came out of the final corner out of turn 10, the rear end just stepped out on Benazik. Mike Kelley was able to come underneath him right at the apex, and the margin of victory, I believe, was 3/100ths of a second. I mean, they were right next to one another. It was as close to a photo finish as you could get.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, we're going further this time, right? You saw it on the camera as they went down, and Benazik now has passed Mike Kelley for that lead. It looks like we've got Tom Boring coming down the front stretch pretty slow. He's going to take the cutoff there. It looks like he's going to come in the back way.
Yeah, so it's like Tom Boring's day now done, and kind of unfortunate. I saw last night, Brian, as I was leaving the facility, that Boring was underneath
working on it.
The right front of the car. I don't know if it was a brake issue or an issue with maybe a busted hub on the front of that Volkswagen. Interestingly, because Boring has purchased a new to him national championship winning Toyota Yaris. He brought it out for the very first time at the VIR Super Tour a couple of weeks ago, but it had we'll call it the runoffs motor in the engine bay. He wants to get the backup motor into the car to run the rest of the season, and didn't get it done in time for this event. So he brings the old Volkswagen out, and it was probably the most interesting thing is when I talked to Tom and his wife Carol at VIR. Tom, the first thing he did was he showed me his hands, not necessarily to shake my hand, but to show them that they weren't full of grease and dirt from working on a race car, which, whether it's the Volkswagen or whether it be his Triumph Spitfire that he many times runs in H production, he's always under the car working on it. And this Toyota, the first time out, no such thing. It was nice and clean.
Former Amber Stevenson car, and Greg, we got looks like JB Swan
runs wide in turn 10.
Yeah, he's going to take that Chevrolet there, and looks like he's going to try to do a little cut in the grass a little bit. Somebody ought to tell JB they cut it Thursday, I believe, Wednesday or Thursday before the weekend, so he didn't need to do that. But that's going to really bottleneck that whole entire H production battle as they go down into turn 1. It looks like Mike Kelley's going to try to make that move. Drivers right under Benazik right there.
Yeah, and Connolly's now got to contend with JB Swan, who just recovered as he comes back up. And so Brian, not only is that a former Amber Stevenson car, as she raced very well against Rick Benazik, for example, set the track records in New Jersey and also Watkins Glen. But that is all that Yaris that Tom Boring did not bring out this weekend is a former national championship winning car that not Donnie Isley. Wrong group. Jason Isley. Thank you. Jason Isley took the national championship in both 2017 and 2018. So big provenance with that Toyota. Hopefully we'll see it back out soon as we continue to watch this battle for the lead in H production. And Mike Kelley just sitting there back behind the Civic. Now we do have a local caution at turn 5, and we did have a call come in, car off track that is not for the Chip Her machine. We'll check here in just a moment. I believe And Brian, we'll get it in a moment because we are going to be going here momentarily, we think, to a full course caution. And indeed, we are going to a full course caution. I believe that may be the 73 of Saltanis that is down there, Brian.
So yeah, I was looking, watching them a little bit, and there was a pretty good battle there between Matthew Benazik, David Colby. You had Saltanis involved in that as well, and then Brad Childs was right in there. I think you had Zachariah Rosenberg in that STL machine. And as they went down into 5, and I happened to glance over at the camera, and I didn't see the Saltanis car come out of that group, right?
Yeah.
I saw the other 3 come through the carousel, but I did not see him. So evidently in a pretty predicament spot down there. Really don't want to have to run the rest of this race with him in that spot. So.
Yeah, so indeed, we've just gotten confirmation that it is the 73 machine of Paul Saltanis. So for the second day in a row, Saltanis not going to make it to the checkered flag here, as we've got our emergency services teams now responding, and they'll see about getting that machine out. So hopefully we won't be under full course caution for very long, as we are we've got 10 laps complete. Racers are working lap 11 of a 25-minute race. Again, either 25 minutes or 50 minutes here, Brian, and we've got over a half hour left on the clock. I don't think there's going to be any question that we'll be able to continue this based on the number of laps, as the safety car has picked up Kevin Ruck, our race leader.
Well, actually picked up Brad Childs and not Kevin Ruck. So
Okay.
put Brad Childs there in front of Ruck. But again, this brings the whole field back together at that point. And what that's going to do is Kevin Ruck now, your overall leader. We talked about David Stripmatter. He got such a great start at the beginning of this racetrack. That's going to actually put him right on that back bumper of Kevin Ruck. Kevin didn't get the start that he wanted to begin with this race. It wasn't until he got through turn 2 and up into turn 3 before he was able to put the pass on David Stripmatter in that number 28 machine, again in that other Acura Integra. So we'll have to see who gets the better start.
So Brad Childs is probably screaming, "Dude, bro,
Wave me around.
wave me around," so I could basically don't get myself lapped automatically when Kevin Ruck comes by, as Brad Childs is running currently 11th overall out of the 14 cars still running, and he is basically under risk of being lapped.
Yeah.
So interesting, and I was trading some messages back and forth with Brad. Brad has an open invitation to me, and unfortunately, Brian, I think he doesn't know the difference between you and Brian Belansky. So hopefully,
I'm taking him up on his invitation because I know what it is.
So this is the greatest thing. So Brad comes to us now from right outside of Miami, and he represents the Florida region of the SCCA. His real life job is he is a boat captain. He basically takes tours. Holds tours down in the Miami area, and he is offered up a tour for during the majors race weekend at Homestead next January, so right after January 1st, and also a bourbon tasting.
Yeah.
Now I know Belansky's very big on bourbon. I'm not so much, but maybe we could bring 2 Bryans and a Greg down there for that. I don't think he'd mind all that much.
I'm sure he would not mind.
He asks, but we always ask our drivers who their sponsors are, and he's in a car that's prepared by Planet Miata, in a very, very strong car. He says, do they have sponsors for old and slow drivers? If so, please share my contact info. So if you need to get a hold of Brad Childs, well, no, I'm not going to give out his email address over the year. Reach out to marsannouncers@gmail.com, and we will hook you up with the dude bro. Yes, with Brad Childs.
The more races I'm calling, Greg, the more I'm starting to really like bourbon. So maybe that Maybe right into the window.
That's right. All right, so Peter Krause is in the chat. Thank you, Peter. And by the way, Peter, can't wait to see you at the Jefferson 500. We'll be announcing that. We'll bring up our broadcast schedule here in just a few moments. Paul Sultanis in his F production Nissan Sentra is sitting dead stick. Matter of fact, if you look at this shot, you can actually see him right up against the tire wall there on driver's right. And we'll see if that car gets moved before the end of the session. I think they just wanted to maybe get him out of the way so that they could continue on here. We'll see.
I think he drove there, Greg, because I think that at that point I was listening to the call on the radio that he was going kind of counter race, and I think it was because he wanted to get back into turn 5 and get down across that, where we did it. So kind of pull it up against the fence and get him moved later.
All right, well, tell you what, while we're under full course caution, Brian, let's bring up our broadcast schedule. So take a look at that real quick so you can see what we got up next. In just a few weeks, we're going to be on the road. We're going to be down at Virginia International Raceway. That is for the SART Mars Challenge for the South Atlantic Road Racing Championship when it meets up with the Mid-Atlantic Road Racing Series drivers. And then we'll be heading to May for the Lightning Challenge. That is over Memorial Day weekend. That is a Mid-Atlantic Road Racing Series race. Basically, all of these are Mars races with the exception of the New Jersey Motorsports Park Majors race, U.S. Majors Tour. That's in mid-July on the Thunderbolt circuit. There are some other events that we're going to be broadcasting. We're going to be broadcasting the Vintage Racers Group event here, the Jefferson 500 here at Summit Point Raceway. That is going to be coming up in just a few weeks, so definitely make sure to join us for that. Some great vintage racing, and I think Peter Krause is going to be behind the wheel of a race car for that. And of course, Peter, well-known racing coach, and I want to thank him for joining us in the chat here today. We got Emily Introne in the race here today. By the way, happy birthday, Emily.
She's in the chat. She's not in the race.
Yeah, she's not in the race. That's right. She's.
I mean, she could be driving Steve's car.
She might be enjoying margaritas here.
She could be driving Steve's car. So.
And apparently, she's like the only one in the Introne family who I think is here this weekend. Is Steve and Emily's daughter made the run down. I think took the most expensive Uber trip ever to get from college down here to Summit Point. Actually, no, that might have been their son. I may be getting everything confused now, but I think most of the Introne clan is here with Steve this weekend. And in addition to that, I saw the whole Ruck family riding around in the golf cart last night. I think they've got a couple twins, a couple kids. Lights are out on the pace car, and we are ready to go back racing. And did they let Brad Childs? They waved him around.
Yeah, they waved him around. He's going to come up right on this group as they go green. Yeah, he's going to have a head of steam towards the back half of this group.
All right, so safety car back on the pit lane. Green flag is in the air as Kevin Ruck leads them to the green flag and the start-finish line, as we will now start lap number 15 of 25, and they're heading down the front straight. And look at this. I mean,
we've got a car spinning down into turn 1 right here, and that is actually Mike Kelley, who got hard on the brakes behind the Benasic machine, able to save it and continue. What a great drive.
And Braid Connolly goes and misses him as well as they come down into turn 1. So yesterday's H production race winner now is going to lose a number of positions. I believe that's now going to drop him into, I think, 4th position in H production, Brian, as we also had Matt Brannon, actually it's Brannon who's running now in 2nd. Braden Connolly in the 112 Fiat X19 now moves up into 3rd. Mike Kelley drops down into 4th position. And yeah, you just said it looked like some rear brake lock from that VW.
Yeah, just really got hard on the brakes getting back in behind the Benasic machine. But I tell you what, that's what it takes, driving those legend cars on dirt that Mike has done for the last several years. That was one heck of a save. No contact from anybody. Able to continue that right up over the curbing down there on the inside of turn 1 and kept that machine rolling and starting to work his way back. Still got plenty of time. Still got 10 laps to go here.
Yeah, and so Kelley gets around Braden Connolly. So move Kelley now up into 3rd. He's got a long way to go now, about a little over 3 seconds to get to the Brannon machine. But that has also closed things up. Matt Brannon now taking the fight to Rick Benazik for the lead in H production, as Brannon spent all day yesterday having the fight with Mike Kelley.
Yeah.
Now he's got a chance for the lead here. We'll see if that open top Fiat X19 can make some moves and close up. You know, the one thing, although the Volkswagen Golf is a pretty easy car to draft off of, Brian, the Honda Civic hatchbacks, those third-gen Civics, they put a pretty big hole in the air that X19 can take advantage of.
Well, I'll tell you what, right now he's gotten back around, so around that machine, that Braden Conley machine. So now put him back into third place in that H production class race.
Yeah, but I was talking about Brannon being able to draft up to Benazik.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, exactly. That black Civic will put a pretty big hole in the air. Yeah. We'll see, but Kelley Golf, the Volkswagens in general have a lot more torque than the Hondas do. Certainly more than the little Fiat does. Right. But Kelley's car has shown quite a bit of straight line speed here as well. I mean, not a surprise. We had a Volkswagen Golf with 2 national championships in a row with Chris Shaftsma behind the wheel, to both the wins at Virginia International Raceway in 22 and 23.
And Greg, coming into turn 1, you can see that car really loose. He's got some brake problems in that car getting down in there. So
and that is definitely rear brake lock up there.
Yeah, definitely getting on it or really overdriving it, knowing he has to catch back up.
Yeah.
But he still has time. So again, this is the part we talked about. You got to take care of the equipment. Yep. He knows there's a problem there, and it looks like the only place we'll follow him going down into turn 5 as much as we can. We really want to see how he gets into 5. But it looks like that car is definitely, like you talked about, Greg, got some rear possible brake issues with there. Getting into turn 5 relatively easy, so maybe really overdriving turn 1.
It could very well be, and and that is something. The rear wheels in a front-wheel drive car, they don't do much. As we're watching Brandon now pulling right up to the back of Benazik down through the carousel. In a Volkswagen, as the race goes on and as the fuel load goes down, it's something that Mike Kelley's going to have to manage, because the fuel tank in that Volkswagen Golf is really pretty far to the back of the car. I don't want to say it's completely in line with the rear hubs, but it's and the rear twist beam suspension on that car, but it's pretty close. The Civic and certainly the Fiat, the fuel tanks are much more towards the center line of the car. And as the fuel load goes down, it doesn't affect the rear axle nearly as much as it is going to in that Volkswagen.
Well, whatever problems he has, he just set the new H production record here.
and that was with the brake lock up on the previous
with the brake lock. Yeah, 125.7. The old record was 125.8.
Yeah, so, and on the last lap, he was actually about 2/10 off of that on that last lap. But yeah, so turns in a 125.7. We said it was cool temperatures here today, and he's just absolutely demolished an H production record that stood. That
in 2014, Ron Bartel, he in the chat and just said, "Well, there goes my record."
Yeah. Oh, Ron's with us. Oh, there you go, Ron, who raced the Valvoline Midget for many years. And I remember when that track record fell here, I was on the pit wall and absolutely stunned, because I didn't think an H production car would ever be able to get down to that. And there you go. Mike Kelley is closing things down. It is about to be a 3-car race.
It is,
Brian, because we're seeing here where Matt Brannon definitely has much faster speed than the Civic down in the bottom half of the course. And we're already seeing now where Benazik is having a little trouble. Yesterday, it was at the rear end of the car, Brian. Benazik's having some trouble getting the front end of that car to turn in. Attention in the paddock, first call to the grid for race group number 2, Formula F, Formula V, and Formula 6, please head to the grid. Formula F, Formula V, and Formula 6 racers, please start heading to the grid.
Tell you what, Greg, as they come out of turn 2 and head up the chute up into turn 3, it is now a definite 3-car battle. As it looks like Mike Kelley has gotten right on that back bumper.
He has.
Matt Brannon and then Rick Benazik. I tell you what, this is going to be another battle coming down as we've got 7 laps to go here. Again, this is where you really have to take care of the equipment, and I think Rick has really been taking care of his equipment. I think Mike is just that much faster because he just now set a new track record with that lap rate.
Yeah, he did, as he moves it down to a 1:25.73. And so Brandon now takes a look to the inside of Benazik going into 7. Brian, as they came out of turn 1 to start this lap, Brandon had made a move, tried to make the pass on Benazik, and in doing so, almost set himself up to be passed going into turn 3 as Mike Kelley tried to take advantage of it. Now as they come underneath the bridge, Brandon he's going to try to follow Benazik through, but again, Benazik not able to get the nose of that Civic to turn in. And we see now as Brandon carries a lot more speed through the critical turn 10. He's going to come along the inside of Benazik. Mike Kelley's going to try to come underneath Brandon. Not enough room there. Brandon has to defend against the Gulf. And as they go into turn 1, it is Matt Brandon, your new leader in 8th production, Mike Kelley, running second. Rick Benazik, he's now going to have to slot into 3rd. And Brian, even then, Benazik had a lot of issues getting that car to turn in. I think he's run the front tires off that car.
Yeah, I think he has too. I think he's really been pushing hard the last several laps, after Mike had that spin there. And so now you're right, definitely run those tires off. He's going to do everything he can to hold on. When they went by through turn 3, they were still side by side. Neither driver wanting to give up. But I tell you what, it was one of the best side-by-side actions going in and up over the hill down into the chute.
All right, and just so you guys know, and we're going to take a look at a couple other battles here in a few moments, but Kevin Ruck now, he's got, I believe, somewhere along the lines of 15 seconds on David Strittmatter, with another 18 seconds back to Colby in F production. In Touring 4, with Chip Herr's early retirement, Kevin Fryer, your leader, he's got 8 seconds right now on Brad Childs, and in B-Spec, Rich Roman has now opened up 11 seconds on JB Swan, so you'll have to indulge us for a little while as we watch this 8th production battle.
Yeah, I tell you what, Brandon now, he's going to lead. That's probably the biggest lead that I've seen by any of these 8th production cars over Mike Kelley, and then Rick Benazik a little bit further back. It's about 2 car lengths going down into turn 1. Mike closes the gap just a little bit, but coming by the start-finish line, it was about 2 car lengths in between each of those top 3 cars.
All right, as they come out of turn 2, Kelley, now let's see if he pokes to the inside a little bit. He does, as Brandon goes and he runs down the center track. Mike Kelley, I'd like to say I taught Mike this. He was my student at driver school. Brian, as I tell him, as he comes out of 2, take a straight line towards that entrance in 3. It's a shorter distance, and he actually was able to make up about a half a car length on the Fiat as they came into turn number 3.
Good thing he's not listening to you when you got that, because James Joseph's also your student.
That's right. Well, I told James to just, take the access road if he runs out of brakes in turn 1. James never listened to me even back then. Actually, James went to his driver's school in a B-Spec car. So
that is true.
Yeah. The big difference, of course, James, national champion in American sedan, as we watch this H production race, and now we are seeing where Benazik is starting to
now
fall off.
become a 2-car battle here. I think that Honda's kind of reared its ugly head with you. When you said run those front tires off, it looks like
yesterday it was the rear, today it was the front. Now I think that probably the big question here, Brian, is in this battle for the win in H production, and is whether or not Mike Kelley, we know that he has had some issues with rear brake lockup. As we get towards the end of this race, and he tries to maybe use turn 1 as a passing opportunity, that threshold braking zone there, whether or not he's going to have an issue. But let's do this, and I think as we watch this 8th production battle go through turn 3, Brian, let's shift ahead, just ahead of him, to turn 5, because David Strittmatter has knocked off in the course of 2 laps, has knocked off almost 3 seconds to Kevin Ruck. That last time by, Kevin Ruck, I think with a hurting car, Brian.
Yeah, I think he's got the problem.
Yeah, he only managed to turn a 131. Strittmatter was almost 5 seconds faster that last time by. And again, we know that Ruck has had some issues with the car. That orange Integra has been a very fickle beast over the years. Ruck was in line to win the national championship this past year and had an unfortunate unfortunate expiration of a motor on the last lap, as we've got Kevin Rock going off wide, coming through turn 10 into the gravel trap. And so that is going to put Stricklotter into the lead in F production, as our H production battle comes right up to the back of the Ruck car. Ruck lets them by, and we've got Brandon holds off Mike Kelley. They're going into turn number 1. But yeah, I think we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Ruck brings that car down the pit lane here this next time by.
He's definitely got a problem. He's really going to come up out of turn 2 really, really slow. He's definitely got something. It looks like it's definitely up on the left front, maybe, and it could be surprise.
I'm wondering if he had brake or possibly had a tire go down the way that car went wide going through turn 10.
Yeah, it looks like he's fine going up in turn 3. But you know, look, I'm going to jump back to the H production battle now that F production is kind of over. It's a good thing that Mike Kelley just went 125.5, because Matt Brandon also went 125.7. So again, 2 fast H production cars. They actually have a shot of coming up over the Strickmatter car. Here comes Strickmatter now out of turn 10.
As Kelley?
Here comes the H production battle side by side coming out of turn number 8, up 9, up underneath the hill.
All right, there is Kelley got a good run through the carousel, but had to turn in early. He's now going to get past the X19 coming through turn 10, so move Kelley to the lead. And with 2 laps remaining, this is the second call to the grid for race crew 2, Formula F, Formula V, and Formula 6. Please head to the grid. Formula F, Formula V, Formula 6. Please head to the grid. This is your second call. All right, so Mike Kelley, he is your new leader in H production as he leads the X19 of Connolly into turn number 1. Benazik starting to fall. Actually, he's been falling off the pace the last couple times by. But interestingly enough, Brian, as we look at the lap times here for the prior lap, where Kelley and Brandon were almost 4 seconds off of their previous lap time. That's how much they had to check up as Kevin Ruck was coming through the gravel trap and moving back in. And speaking of Ruck, I believe, and we'll check, I believe he has taken his car back to the paddock. So it looks like Kevin Ruck's day is now done.
Yeah, when Ruck went off in 10 and they came out at 10, he definitely had to move. And then when he came back onto the racetrack, he was kind of right directly in their line. And he had to actually go in the grass to driver's left to stay out of their way.
All right, so as David Strickmatter comes through turn 10 onto the front straight, he's going to see the white flag. 1 lap to go here at Summit Point for our F production leader, looking to run the table this weekend, Brian, in F production. And with Kevin Ruck's retirement, David Colby moves up into second place for the second day in a row as our H production battle with 1 lap to go. We've got Brandon. He comes down to the inside on Mike Kelley, and we'll see if he can make this move stick. He tries to slot the nose just ahead of Kelley. Kelley's going to come all the way out of turn 2, moves the car all the way to the white line. Brian, driver's left. Brandon's trying to pinch him as hard as possible, and Brandon's going to hold him off as they come into turn 3. Mike Kelley gets super loose on exit.
Wow, trying to get the most out of that car up in there. Actually, probably had to get out of the throttle, and that's what caused that rear end to step out on him a little bit, because as they came out of turn number 2, it was Brandon kind of in the center track, kind of moving Mike a little bit, not to let him get online.
All right, so as Strickmatter goes through turn 7, he's going to work his way up the hill. We'll catch him as he comes onto the front straight here in a moment. Mike Kelley, who took the race win yesterday with an amazing pass on Rick Benazik coming through turn 10, trying to repeat the magic here today as Strickmatter comes through the final corner. Strickmatter will take the F production and overall win. Brandon, your leader, coming out of turn number 10, and as they come onto the front straight, Mike Kelley, he moves to the right. He's going to try to slingshot past, and as they come to the line, Mike Kelley takes the win in H production. Ladies and gentlemen, 4 1,000ths of a second.
Don't blink.
4 1,000ths of a second. Mike Kelley takes the win over Matt Brandon, runs the table for the weekend. Rick Benazik will finish 3rd in H production. Braden Connolly will finish 4th. In F production, it's David Strickmatter, David Colby, now coming to the line. Colby, second car here in the shot, will finish second in F production, with Kevin Ruck finishing in third. In Touring 4, Kevin Fryer, and I have to apologize to my good friend Kevin, didn't get any camera time today. Kevin Fryer will take the win in Touring 4 over Brad Childs, who finished second. Chip Her retires after just 4 laps. And in B-Spec, taking the win, actually, well, about to take the win. He's coming out of turn 10 now, onto the front straight. Checkered flag in the air, your defending national champion in B-Spec. Coming across the line, Rich Roman with the win. JB Swan will finish second. Steve Introne retired after only 10 laps. He'd had some issues with that car. And of course, Robert Ahern, who started on the outside of the front row today in B-Spec, retires after just a single lap. So Brian, let me make another call to the grid, our final call for our next group. Attention in the paddock, attention in the paddock. Final call to the grid for race group number 2, Formula V, Formula F, and Formula 6. Please head to the grid. Formula F, Formula V, and Formula 6, please head to the grid. And with that, Brian, let's take a quick break. Let's both take a breath. Spencer, you take a breath too. And we're going to thank some partners and sponsors, and we'll be back here with more great racing action from Summit Point. It is the 2025 U.S. Majors Tour. Please stay with us.